My name's Ethan. I'm 24. I didn't plan to stay the night at Liam's place, but one beer turned into three, and by the time the rain started hammering the windows, the idea of heading home felt ridiculous. His girlfriend, Lila, had answered the door when I arrived that afternoon. She always did, like it was her place. Maybe it was unofficially. Liam had moved in 6 months ago, but Lila had turned the apartment into something straight out of a design catalog. Matte black kitchen accents, sage green couch cushions, incense even in the bathroom. She smiled when she opened the door, wide and polite, but her eyes didn't smile the same way. I noticed that. Liam's picking up the wine. "You're early," she said, stepping aside. She was barefoot, in a soft gray sweater and black leggings. One sleeve tugged down past her knuckles. I shrugged. "Got off work early. Figured I'd beat traffic." "You did. Traffic's brutal right now." She pointed at my jacket. "Throw that on the chair." "You hungry?" That's how it started. Innocent, technically. Friendly. But I'd always been a little too aware of Lila. Too conscious of how she walked past me. Too quick to remember the perfume she wore. Too invested in not being alone in a room with her, and somehow always ending up exactly there. By the time Liam came back, we were already sitting at the kitchen island, laughing over some dumb meme she pulled up on her phone. She touched my arm when she passed it to me, just briefly. Liam didn't notice. The three of us had dinner, pizza, wine, some kind of arugula salad Lila claimed was balance. Afterward, we ended up on the couch watching something half funny on Netflix. It was late. The windows were streaked with rain. The lights were low. Lila had curled into the armrest, her legs tucked beneath her. Liam eventually yawned. "I'm calling it. Got early meetings. You guys can keep watching if you want." She glanced at me. "I might." And he left, just like that. Gone to the bedroom, door shut behind him. The sound of it latching felt louder than the storm outside. Now it was just us. We didn't speak for a few minutes. The show kept going, but neither of us was watching. She reached for the wine bottle again, poured a splash more into her glass, then held the neck up in silent offer. I nodded. She refilled mine carefully, not spilling a drop. She didn't pull her hand back immediately. Her knuckles grazed mine on the glass. "You always show up early," she said, not looking at me. "Traffic," I replied, but my voice came out too quiet. She smiled, small, unreadable, and leaned back again. The air felt thick, like the rain outside had crept in, soaking into the walls. Her foot, bare and relaxed, nudged mine under the table. I thought it was accidental until it didn't move away. My heart jumped. I didn't move. Her foot slid forward, slow, deliberate, until it rested against my ankle. Then higher. My pulse was roaring in my ears. I looked up at her, but she was watching the screen like nothing was happening. Her face unreadable, calm. I wanted to speak, to say something, anything, to break the moment before it shattered something else. But the words never came. Then, from down the hallway, came the sound of a door creaking. We both froze. She withdrew her foot instantly, eyes flicking toward the sound. Nothing. No steps. No voice. Just a groan of old wood and then silence again. "I think he's asleep," she whispered, voice low. I nodded, still not trusting myself to speak. She stood, picking up the wine glasses. "Come help." In the kitchen, everything felt brighter. The overhead light buzzed softly. She rinsed the glasses, handed me a towel without asking. We worked in silence, like nothing had happened, like we hadn't just crossed an invisible line. When we finished, she leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "You're staying, right?" she asked. I hesitated. "If that's okay." Her eyes held mine. "Of course. Couch is yours." Then she walked past me, slow, unhurried, and disappeared down the hall. I stood in the kitchen a full minute longer, gripping the towel like it had answers. I didn't sleep that night. The morning smelled like coffee and rain. I woke up on the couch, covered with a blanket I definitely didn't put on myself. The window was slightly open, and the curtain shifted gently with each gust of wind. Somewhere in the kitchen, dishes clinked softly. "Morning," came her voice from around the corner. Lila stood by the stove, barefoot, hair damp, wearing an oversized gray t-shirt that fell past her hips. She held a mug in both hands, like it grounded her. Her movements were slow, almost careful. She didn't look at me right away. "Liam already left?" I sat up, pulling the blanket tighter. "Yeah, early client. He said not to wake you." "Coffee?" I nodded, and she poured a second cup without another word. She placed it on the table beside a plate. A single slice of toast, honey drizzled across it, edges slightly burnt. It felt too intimate for something so simple. Neither of us said much. The silence wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't cold either. She didn't avoid me, but she wasn't inviting anything either. The night before hung between us like fog, present, silent, impossible to ignore. She left the room for a moment, and I sat with the coffee cooling in my hand, glancing around. That's when I saw it. Her silver feather necklace, looped neatly around the arm of the chair I'd used as a makeshift coat rack. She wore that necklace constantly. Seeing it there, so exposed, felt deliberate. I didn't touch it, just looked, then finished my coffee and left before she returned. We didn't talk for a few days. Liam messaged the group chat midweek, something casual. "We should do another dinner night." I didn't reply. When Friday came, I found myself back at their place. Liam had ordered takeout. We sat around joking, flipping through some dumb reality show on TV. Everything seemed normal, or rather forced into normal. Lila was quiet at first. Then Liam got a call. "Delivery's outside," he said, grabbing his keys. "Back in a sec." The door clicked behind him. Lila and I were alone again, in the quiet between two steps. She leaned against the kitchen counter, arms folded. Her shirt had slipped slightly off one shoulder. Her eyes flicked to mine, but only for a second. Then to the floor, then back. "You forgot something last time," I said quietly. Her brow furrowed, then smoothed. "I didn't forget it." A pause. Not even a smirk. Just those 4 words and the weight they carried. After dinner, Liam insisted I stay the night again. "It's late. No point driving." "I'll be out early anyway," he said, already checking his calendar. I said yes before I could think. Later that night, I took a quick shower. Realized too late I'd forgotten a towel. I cracked the door and peeked into the hallway. Quiet, dim. When I stepped into the living room, still damp, she was standing at the window. Same shirt, no socks. Backlit by streetlight, she looked like a shadow outlined in gold. She turned slowly when she heard me. Her eyes landed on the water dripping from my hair, then on the fact that I was holding nothing. "You forgot your towel," she said, barely above a whisper. I nodded. "Yeah." She walked past me, disappeared down the hall, then returned moments later with a folded towel in hand. I reached out. Her fingers brushed mine. Neither of us moved right away. Then her hand stayed there, holding the fabric. Too long. Her eyes searched my face. "You okay?" she asked. "I don't know." She looked like she wanted to say something else. But the front door suddenly opened. "Food's here." Liam's voice rang out. "Hope I didn't miss anything." Lila let go of the towel. "You didn't?" she called back, calm as ever. I turned away, towel in hand, heading toward the guest room. But I saw it. on the arm of the couch. Her necklace. She had put it there again. Saturday morning felt heavier than it should have. Liam and I were setting up tables outside for a small garage sale he'd planned weeks ago. The sun was out, but the air felt thick, like the weather knew more than we did. Lila stayed inside most of the time, watching from the living room window with sunglasses on, even though it wasn't that bright. "You guys good?" I asked casually as we placed a stack of books by the railing. "Yeah." "Why?" Liam shot me a curious look. "She just seems distant." He smirked lightly. "She's always like that when her sister visits. Drama stuff." I nodded as if that made sense, but my mind was stuck on a different kind of distance, the one that shrinks right before it disappears. When the sale wrapped up, Liam got a text from a friend. "Soccer match? Beers? Guys' night." He grabbed his jacket. "You can hang if you want," he said. "Help Lila pack up the leftovers." He meant nothing by it, but the air shifted the second his car pulled away. We brought the last boxes upstairs, to a small attic-like storage room. The single window up there was cracked open, letting in a slow breeze. Dust motes floated through the light like silent confessions. I set a box down. When I turned, she was already watching me. No smile, no pretense, just that look, the one that said we'd both been pretending far too long. "You've been avoiding me," she said. "You've been quiet," I replied. "So have you." She stepped closer. The room suddenly felt too small for the two of us, or maybe too honest. Her hand twitched like she wanted to reach for my arm. "This can't keep happening," she whispered. The distance between our faces was a single breath. Then, a loud bang from downstairs. A door slamming. We jolted apart. Footsteps. Heavy. Coming up the stairs. "Anyone home?" A voice called. "Male." Not Liam. I moved first, blocking the hallway before he reached the landing. "Closing up the sale," I said, forcing my heartbeat to slow. It was Trevor, one of Liam's gym buddies. He looked me over, then peered around me. "Liam here." "He left about 10 minutes ago." Trevor looked past my shoulder again, trying to see what I was blocking. "Saw Lila crying a few days ago," he said quietly. "Didn't want to get involved, but if something's off." My jaw tightened. "She's fine." A long moment passed before he finally nodded and headed back downstairs. When he was gone, I turned. Lila was standing in the attic doorway, gripping her necklace so tightly her knuckles were white. She dropped her hand slowly, and the silver feather glinted in the light. "He's starting to notice," I said. "I know. You want me to go?" "No," she said. "Too fast." Then softer. "Not yet." She stepped forward, then stopped. Her breath caught, and so did mine. Then she took the necklace off and pressed it into my palm. "Not forgotten. Given." "If I take this," I said, barely able to breathe, "I can't pretend anymore." Her voice shook just once. "You already don't." I left soon after. The sun was low, shadows stretching long across the pavement. I nearly reached my car before noticing someone leaning against the wall of the building. Liam. He stared straight at me. No anger, no smile, just a question forming beneath the surface. "Forgot my wallet," he said. I nodded, slow, careful. His eyes dropped to my hand. The necklace wasn't hidden. "That hers?" he asked. Couldn't lie. My silence said everything. He stepped closer. "You sure you want to keep helping?" The street noise vanished. The world narrowed to 6 words. And a silver feather burning in my palm. The necklace was still in my pocket when I didn't show up for work the next day. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just kept replaying that moment. The way Liam looked at me. No yelling, no threats. Just a stare like something between a question and a verdict. I didn't know what he'd told Lila, or if he had said anything at all. By Monday, I drafted a message to him a dozen times and deleted every version. On Tuesday, I opened the drawer of my nightstand and laid the feather necklace inside. I didn't close it. I needed to see it. Like a wound I wasn't ready to heal. Days passed. Nothing. No calls. No visits. No messages from either of them. On Friday, I came home late and saw something tucked into my mailbox. No name. No return address. Inside was a small black envelope with no writing. Just a single match inside, and on its side, drawn in pen, a faint silver feather. I stood there in the hallway staring at it. Not forgotten. Not gone. Transformed. That night I drove across the city. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't even know what I would say if I saw her. But I had to know. I parked a block away from their building. The lights were off on the top floor. I waited. I watched. No movement. Then the front door opened. Lila stepped out, coat wrapped tight, hair down, walking slowly. She didn't look around. She walked past me. In her hand, she held a folded napkin, the kind from the bar we used to go to. She slipped it into the slot of the bench at the corner. A second later, she disappeared into the back of a cab. When I reached the bench, the napkin was still there. Inside, another feather, hand-drawn in black ink, and below it 2 words, "Still here." That was all. No names, no drama, no promise, just a quiet agreement this didn't end. Changed form. Weeks passed. I moved, got a new place, different part of town. No more group chats, no more accidental meetings. The necklace stayed hidden, but the match, I carried that now. Not always with me, but close. We didn't write, we didn't talk. But once every month, on the first Friday, a match would appear in my mailbox. Different shape, different color, same symbol. Somewhere she was still choosing it, and I was still answering in silence. It was never about the risk, it was about who kept walking through it.